Today, the young talent has the opportunity like never before. Before to leverage, establish, and lead in today's age where past experiences are fast getting obsolete. Said that, I would like to now invite our next keynote speaker for the day, Tuhina Pandey, Communications Leader, IBM Global Digital Sales and India and South Asia, who will be addressing the audience on the topic winning in the zero experience age. Ma'am, over to you.
Hi, Nihal. Thank you so much. I can't seem to. Okay, there we go. Hi, everyone, and hi, Nihal. Thanks for that introduction. That was a lot of energy, and frankly, I felt the same energy when I was invited to deliver this keynote because I know who is in the audience, and I get to talk to the future because in the audience are the folks who are going to craft the future. So I'm very delighted and excited to be a part of this session. And coming to my topic, as Nihal outlined, why is it important to talk about it today, and what does zero experience age really mean? And why is it that it matters to you and me? So let me take a minute or two to unpack and what it really means and why should we really have this conversation. Imagine yourself walking into a room. You want a project, or you are really pitching for some funding, or you're actually going for a job interview. And this is another person sitting in the same room who says, hey, listen, I have 25 years of experience doing social media selling. Or if the person said, I've been making delivery through drones for the last 20 years. Or, I have an agency which does space tourism. Or I've been doing conversational AI aided communications and marketing for the last 15 years. Or, by the way, I have a house in Mars. Um, would you really believe that? Or would you just turn and say, hey, really? What is that? The point I'm really trying to make is today in that room, in those conversations, frankly, no one can claim that they have a lot of experience in the way the world is changing today. A lot that is happening around us today, a lot of people don't have the experience, no matter how long they've been working, no matter how accomplished they are, no matter how, whether they are at a leadership position or not. And you in that room, who are probably relatively young or have zero experience, have equal chance of bagging that fund or bagging that opportunity or applying yourself. In some cases, in fact, better chances because you don't have preconceived notion about things. You're fresh, you bring in a fresh perspective, you have lived that age, you are closer to the consumer, the needs and demands of the time. So it's really down to saying we are really in a zero experience age where everyone has equal or perhaps even better opportunity if happens to be a young professional with very little or no experience at all. Now, you would turn around and say, hey, but it happened before. So, what is the big deal about zero experience age? Why is it a golden age? And why is she talking to us about it? My point is this: it was always there. For instance, when I was growing up, I remember seeing the mobile phone for the first time. But for my parents, they were pretty much the landline folks, right? They didn't know how to experience it, what to do with this piece of instrument. But look at where the world has traveled. Now, our entire world is in our palms. So that is the power of how a change can change lives and the world around us. So, fast forward to today, why am I giving that example? Yes, there were changes and there were barriers that were crossed, but today the change of pace is so exponential. There is a disruption every second. For instance, you must have heard a lot of people say, The largest amount of data in the entire human civilization has been actually created in the last few years. And that gives you a sense of the velocity and volume with which the change is knocking at our doors. And it's so exponential that what was applicable yesterday is obsolete today. What you come out of college fresh with a degree, and 3 years down the line, you realize, hey, that doesn't exist anymore. So, how are we going to make most of that is the real question at hand. And I do want to dwell on the challenges of today a little bit as well. Where is it that your experience or no experience really comes into the play? Look at the challenges of the world today. Climate, for instance, a lot of the climate related movements are being led by young folks. Why is that? Because they've lived the age of dramatic change that is coming in. Also, the fact that, they know that their future is at stake. If the planet doesn't survive, what is the meaning of growth? So, growth alone is not important anymore. The growth has to be cyclical, the circular economy is in play, it has to be sustainable, and it has to be for the long term. So, the laws of the economics where you saw just the substitution cost here is it's less expensive, more profitable, has now changed to profits, planet, and purpose. There has to be a nice equilibrium. And the young professionals or people who are coming into the workforce understand that. For instance, how are you going to use AI or artificial intelligence to solve the problems with the citizens? What do you do about the mental well being? How do you shape a culture which is not defined by boundaries anymore? It's a hyper connected world. How are you going to, deal with cyber warfare? Or what are you going to do to dig minerals for the sustainability of the planet from elsewhere in space or Mars or other planet? So the change of the scene, or let's say the needs and the demands of the time and the future, is very different, where frankly nobody has any experience. So if you have an idea, and if you have the passion, and if you are willing to sort of push the boundaries of the possible and move into the realm of the impossible, your chances are perhaps stronger than it ever was. And that's why I say it's the golden age of zero experience. There's never been a better time for young professionals and those moving into the work environment right now. But the question, therefore, is then what will it take for us to win in this zero experience age? And I'm going to come to that. But for a moment, I'm going to draw your attention to my own life experience. And in some small ways, I have experienced, or the zero experienced, my life, and it has manifested in different ways, in own small microcosmic way, really. I was really studying with a commerce background to become a MBA or a CA. And then there was this mad moment where it struck me that I wanted to be a television journalist. So I skilled up, I figured it out, and I became a television journalist with NDTV. So while I was there, I was having a good run. It was all working out really well. And then there was a part of me that said, why not have a corporate television in the digital world in multiple countries and in multiple languages? And this is 2010. So digital world is not still mainstreaming. It was still sort of relatively new. When I had and did that, I did sales, marketing. I tried sort of, I've sold in places I've not understood the language. I did media consulting. I did a startup. I did consulting for mergers and acquisitions, corporate affairs, corporate communication. The point I'm really trying to make is that for none of this, I had experience, but the ability to learn, the ability to explore, and what was also there, how do I connect the dots to the future, my past to the future? That was my little journey of how it manifested for me. And this brings me back to the question of how do we, you and me, and all of us really win in the zero experience age? And I will say this, there is a basic education which is required, and that's not a degree or a stamp or a paper or anything of the sort. What it really is your ability to learn. Your learnability quotient has to be in stratosphere. It has to be of a different kind and a level. Do you have the beginner's mindset, or are you bogged down by what has been done in the past? Are you willing to, are you bold enough to write script of the future? Because a lot of these things have not yet been done. A lot of this will still change. So do you have that sort of explorer entrepreneurial spirit, and are you able to connect the dots? I think it is very important. You may not have a lot of experience in work life, but you have life experience. Um, and are you able to delve deep and figure out what are the principles at play? What are the fundamentals of it? What did I learn that I can apply in this situation? Are you able to connect the dots, not just by from your own life experiences of what you understand, but from those around you, from the knowledge that you harness? Are you able to connect the dots, and with speed? Speed matters because the disruption is happening so fast. We got to be on that train, and we can't be in that state of procrastination all the time. So you got to be able to deliver it with speed. Speed is not enough, got to be sustainable. So just a quick fix is not going to work. Today's economy, today's world wants you to think about what makes life sustainable. We are going to run out of food by 2050 or thereabouts. The world is going to out of it. So how are we going to solve that problem? Right, we have a huge population that needs to be fed, that needs to be sort of, sustained on this planet. What's our answer to it? And we need to have quick enough pace of that thinking, and connecting the dots is going to be super important. And finally, I think look into the mirror and ask yourself what kind of a future you want to live in, and then go ahead and script it. That's what it is. And bottom line, therefore, what I'm coming at is there is absolutely no experience required to solve the pressing needs of our time. What it requires is a learner's mindset. What it requires is your entrepreneurial spirit, your thinking, and your application to change, shape, and sustain this world. And I'm no sort of, I'm not going to be really advising you. It's your life and you define your future. But if there is one advice, I'll say this: be absolutely bold and fearless in painting the canvas of your own life. Because when you push boundaries and set out of your comfort zone, you have no idea what life unlocks. And it can unlock magical things that you couldn't have dreamt of in your own wildest dream. So go ahead and take that leap, be bold, be absolutely fearless, and be successful, because you are the future. And literally, truly, the future is in your hands. So thank you very much for listening to me, and I wish you all the very best. Thank you so much. Back to you, Nehal. I hope I made time.
Yes, ma'am, you are. Thank you so much. And that was really inspiring. Thank you.